Welcome. This is a product overview of ComplianceForge's Indentured Bill of Materials template, which we call the IBOM. Over the next few minutes, we will walk through what it is, what problems it solves, and how it helps you comply with Executive Order 14415. The IBOM is an editable template to comply with Executive Order 14415. It enables a company to trace all components, parts, equipment, software, and materials back to the origin of raw materials. It leverages industry-recognized practices for software, hardware, and cryptographic bills of materials to populate the IBOM. And it contains instructions and a consolidated data dictionary that maps every field to its source practice. According to Executive Order 14415, Section 3B1, contractors must submit to the Department of War a complete indentured bill of materials that traces all components, parts, equipment, software, and materials back to the origin of raw materials in their supply chains. The IBOM template from ComplianceForge provides a feasible method to comply with that requirement as part of broader supply chain risk management practices by the U.S. government. Executive Order 14415, Section 3, contains the key IBOM components, where contractors must do two things. Establish and implement written procedures to proactively vet all suppliers and subcontractors supporting the critical supply chain, screening at a minimum for financial risk, foreign ownership, control or influence risk, and manufacturing and supply risk. And not utilize covered material supplied by an unreliable foreign supplier in their supply chains, subject to limited exceptions. So what exactly is an indentured bill of materials? It is a multi-level, indented bill of materials whose nodes may be hardware assemblies, software components, cryptographic assets, materials or raw materials, each carrying provenance, supplier, and risk data. According to the U.S. government's Warfighting Acquisition University, indentured bills of materials show the relationship of components to subassemblies, subassemblies to assemblies, and assemblies to the entire system. Parent and child relationships. The indentured format is preferred for diminishing manufacturing sources and material shortages management because it provides a broader picture for identifying, assessing the impact of, and weighing resolution options for issues. The indentured term is not new. Provisioning and logistics practice has long used indentured parts lists, in which each line item is indented under its next higher assembly to express parent and child relationships. The Executive Order's IBOM definition is rooted in this provisioning and logistics lineage, rather than in cybersecurity software bill of materials practice. That is why it includes logistics data elements, like maintenance planning, reliability and maintainability, cost and cataloging, that no software bill of materials standard addresses. The IBOM is a one-time purchase of an editable Microsoft Excel-based template. There is no software to install, no agent to deploy, no account to provision, and no cloud environment to configure. If your organization can open and edit Microsoft Excel files, you can use the IBOM template. It is delivered as a fully editable Excel file compatible with Microsoft 365, OpenOffice, LibreOffice, and Google Sheets. Documentation is delivered via email download link within 1 to 2 business days of purchase. A single entity license is included with purchase. There is no recurring subscription requirement, although an optional update subscription is available. This deployment model is intentional. Cybersecurity documentation benefits from being in your organization's own hands, inside your own version control and document management systems, rather than locked inside a vendor SaaS tool. Most organizations face one or more of 4 documentation challenges, and the IBOM was designed specifically to address them. The first is a lack of in-house security experience. Writing security documentation is a skill that many good cybersecurity professionals simply are not proficient at and avoid at all cost, especially with specialized documentation requirements like an IBOM. The second is compliance requirements. The IBOM is designed with compliance in mind, since it focuses on leading security frameworks to address the Executive Order's requirement for contractors to trace all components, parts, equipment, software, and materials back to the origin of raw materials in their supply chains. The third is audit failures. The Executive Order specifically calls out False Claims Act liability for contractors. It is advisable to be proactive, rather than reactive, by waiting for an audit failure to do what is required. And the fourth is vendor requirements. The executive order requires prime contractors to govern their supply chain, so all levels of the supply chain will need to provide an IBOM that supports the main contract requirements. The IBOM is evidence that will be required. The IBOM addresses each challenge with specific, measurable outcomes. The first is alignment with leading practices. The template aligns with leading practices to address software, hardware, and cryptographic bill of materials components, to address the executive order's requirements for an IBOM. And the second is time savings. The IBOM provides your organization with an editable template that allows you to hit the ground running. So what do you actually receive? The IBOM is one of the simplest products ComplianceForge sells. It is delivered as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet with a Start Here instruction guide in PDF. There is no software to install, just an Excel spreadsheet that is formatted to address the executive order's requirements. Now compare that against the two alternatives for obtaining quality documentation. For your internal staff to generate comparable documentation, it would equate to a cost of approximately $1,000 in staff-related expenses. That is about 1 to 2 weeks of development time where your staff would be diverted from other work. If you hire a consultant to generate this documentation, it would equate to a cost of approximately $1,300. That is about 1 week of development time for a contractor to provide you with the deliverable. The IBOM is approximately 20% of the cost for your internal staff and approximately 15% of the cost for an external consultant to generate equivalent documentation. The template itself is $200. Given the nature of the IBOM template, ComplianceForge is unable to provide a PDF example. The reason is that a screenshot of the Excel spreadsheet would give away the overall structure and content that could be copied. So how much work is left for you? ComplianceForge did the heavy lifting creating the template. The remaining work is to work with your internal stakeholders to fill in the details to populate the spreadsheet. These are answers that only your subject matter experts can answer. ComplianceForge provides a filled-in example of an IBOM that can be used for instructional purposes. Between the instructions and examples, internal staff can properly fill out the template without professional services. If you want a hand, ComplianceForge offers optional professional services. They are not required to customize ComplianceForge documentation. The 5-hour bundle may be beneficial for companies that need some guidance on getting started with how to tailor their documentation. The 10-hour bundle is for companies that need additional guidance on tailoring their documentation to meet their compliance requirements. And the 20-hour bundle is for companies that need robust services beyond just 10 hours to assist in tailoring their documentation. Purchased professional service hours expire 120 days, or 4 months, from the time of purchase if unused. Hours are intended to supplement, not replace, your own customization work. If you have any questions, please email support@complianceforge.com or call 1-307-241-8740. We've been helping organizations since 2005, and we are always happy to help.